sharing our stories connects us. Listen and be connected. Join us for the conversation meeting weekly at the intersection of community and culture. Hosted by Mario Nunez and Joe King Carter. Well, it's Wednesday. It's noon. And if it's Wednesday, it's noon. It's WMNF 88.5 and WMNF.org. This is The Conversation. You're listening to Mario Nunez and
Joe King Carter.
Joe King Carter, who today is a little bit under the weather, but you'd never tell it. Well, maybe you could. Joey, say something.
Well, the voice is a little deeper and raspier. Because,
yeah, that's not a bad thing.
I have a significant head cold.
What happened there?
You can kind of hear it in there.
What happened?
What happened, I believe, by the way, I haven't had a cold in, I think, a decade or more. And not to step on Dr. Fred Harvey's show on Mondays.
There you go.
But I think he would agree with me that I found out a long time ago that zinc as a supplement will do a world of good in keeping colds away. So I never get colds, and yet now I have one. And the only thing I know is I'm not a microbiologist. Maybe I came in contact with somebody who had a fierce strain, but I think it's because trauma shocked my immune system, and that trauma was last week's election.
Yes, it was. Shocked the
traumatic.
Monkey. It shocked the monkey. That's what happened.
Yeah, absolutely, it did.
Yeah,
I think it did, really.
And people don't realize it, but and that trauma that we talked about a couple of weeks ago on our show, it manifests itself in different ways, right? And it doesn't always happen all at once. It's not like in a situation when you're in fight or flight, or you get into an automobile accident where that adrenaline rush, and that happens in the moment, right?
Certainly.
That trauma happens in the moment. But this kind of trauma is different, Joe. This kind of creeps on you. Sometimes it comes in waves. It's going through the 12 steps of grief.
Certainly, yes, because people who care now, if you were someone who supported the newly the elected president, then you're not having trauma. I guess you're feeling joy.
Giddy.
But if you were on the other side, then you're probably experiencing some kind of trauma because for many different reasons. And stress will suppress your immune system. And I really think you've always got little bugs on you. It's your immune system's
that
functioning.
fights off those bugs.
That's the deal. So I think that probably my immune system dropped down a little bit because of the horror show.
A little lack of sleep and probably, eating, either overindulging or not eating properly. That's all these things come into play. So yeah, the horror show is unfolding. It's evolving right in front of our eyes, and it's a little unsettling. The cabinet choices that are being made presently are enough to scare you.
Yeah.
It's going to be quite the spit show for the next 4 years, and I don't know if people are really wrapping their heads around it. And you and I consume way too much of the information, truthfully, but. You got to get a sense of this, how it went the first time around. It was a major grift. Incompetence was all over his administration, and now those that were there providing guardrails, as they like to use that euphemism, they're no longer there. They've given up the ghost. They've spoken out. Some did. Some kind of didn't do it as well as and forcefully as they could have in a timely fashion. But I don't think any of that would have mattered, Joe. Everything that we're finding out now is telling us they're trying to hang this on the Latino male. But we're finding out that there's no mandate.
Let me address this.
Less than a point does not a mandate make.
Yeah, let me address this, and I'm gonna say something that probably some others will disagree with, and that's great because we're gonna be today. Opening up our phones for call-ins for people who want to talk about what's happening, what they think is going to happen.
A week later? We're into this is a week postmortem.
We will get back onto our agenda of having guests and narratives, but the narrative today is going to be in the hands of our listening audience. But my personal take on this, and I will tell you right now, we are here at the conversation at the intersection of community and culture, and I'm a culture guy. I love studying culture. I would have loved to have been an anthropologist. I mean, all that stuff is fascinating to me. Why do we make the choices? Why is this preferred and that not, and so on and so forth? And people want simple answers. And I have to tell you that I think that what I see among a lot of pontificators is this idea that the Democrats really made a big mistake and they really dropped the ball and they had a bad ground game, or this happened or that happened, or maybe it was the choice of Waltz, a different kind of VP nominee would have done something else. And all of that is in that work. And it's not to say that maybe the Democrats could not have improved. Yes. But I think what we see here is a cultural phenomena. And I think a kind of perfect storm formed around Donald Trump. That's my personal opinion. And I think there are so many confluences that the complexity of it is not a single answer. It's not a dozen answers. It's not 100 answers. It may indeed be thousands of answers, because all of these, when you look at people who are voting against their own self-interest, you have to say, well, there's got to be a reason for that. That just doesn't happen automatically. And what is happening out there is this confluence of all these different people. One is a group that is not identified heavily, and it's young males. Young males in our culture, which now there's a euphemism, they're called roid males, but these are kind of guys that aren't taking you. Our culture has shifted a lot. It used to be that when you were 20 years old, you were starting to look at going to college or starting your family or getting a trade and moving on into the world, and that was sort of your path. And that path has been altered dramatically. So you have lots of young guys out there kind of hanging out. They're doing all the things that they do. It reminds me a lot of a book that I read many years ago called The Redneck Manifesto by Jim Goad. And in that book, his point was that rednecks are not, there is no anti-defamation league for rednecks. And we all kind of poke at them, and lots of jokes are being made about rednecks. So, but who are they really? What is that group? Well, it's a word that is a derogatory word for many, and all that. I
Can
get
be.
it. But the point is, yeah, some people wear redneck proudly. But the thing is, it is a group. There is a group of people that are maybe have a certain level of education. They have a certain demographic, and the demographic here is to point to these Latino males only, just because Latino districts voted in a certain way. That doesn't mean that Donald Trump was put in office by Latino males. It's not the way it works. He was put in office by many, many, many segments of our society. And those segments, in my feeling, we could analyze all that. But that's a lot of segments, folks. That's a lot of people between MAGA
They're
and
still
between
counting votes in California, so we don't know what the end total is going to be.
Right.
But it may be that the difference, and he may very well have won the popular vote, and I still have problems accepting the fact that 17 million people less voted this time than last time. I just have a problem. The number just is astonishing to me.
Yes.
I might be able to swallow 3-4 million people, but 17 million people is a lot.
It's a lot
and
of
if there
folks.
was any shenanigans going on, and I know there's a lot of people, and media in particular, and left liberal media in particular, saying that no, it was pretty fair and pretty square. There wasn't any hijinks and shenanigans going on. Well, okay, fine. That's what they have to say.
Well,
but why do we always give up the ghost right away? I mean,
Yeah.
we don't ever.
Well, certainly if the shoe were on the other foot, it would be very different. And by the way,
we know that. We've seen that. We've experienced that.
if Russian tech,
Russia, if you're listening.
if Russian tech sites were sending in bomb threats, over 100 bomb threats total, by the way, on election day, if that were happening, and it was to the Republican disadvantage, we'd hear about it.
Of course.
So yeah, there's a lot of factors there. There's misogyny and there's racism and
Bigotry.
it goes on and on and on and on. And all of these groups, these segments in the country form kind of like a coalition.
Say nothing for the fact that Sinclair and all those right-wing media outlets that if there's one WMNF, and we're supposed to be nonpartisan, although everybody knows we're on the left side of the dial. That's not a mystery. We are progressive here at WMNF. There are 150 to 500 radio stations and podcasters that are doing everything they can to switch this to a right wing establishment, and so it's hard. It's hard when you can micro target a community, when you can send advertisements via social media platforms, and of course, Elon Musk, he controls Twitter X, and with his, I don't know if people know how much $1 billion is. Do you know how much $1 billion is, Joey?
It's
1,000 million. We look at $1 million and we go, wow, that's a lot of money, man.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money. Yeah. Well, how about 1,000 of those? That's $1 billion. And if you got $2 billion, if you lose $1 million, you don't give it. You don't even notice it. You don't even know what's happening. So
it's a nickel.
So all the dirty money, it is less than that. All the dirty money, all the money, the dark money that's been now made legal by Citizens United. It's been, listen, the game
you mean by defeating
the game is rigged.
Right.
The game is absolutely rigged.
Yeah.
But we should not be under any false pretense as to who's doing the rigging, and how and what party it's helping. So let's just give them the number now, Joey, and then we can go further down the rabbit hole, because I'm feeling a little salty today, brother. A week later, and I haven't gotten any much over this. And I think this knot that's in the pit of my stomach is going to be there for the next 4 years. And anybody that knows me personally knows that I'm not that guy, because I'm not. Because I tend to see, I'm not Pollyannish, and I certainly don't see the world completely through rose-colored glasses. But I do see the glasses half full. I do see today as better than yesterday, and I want it to be that way. But the dark clouds that are following us, that are over us now, I don't know how we shake that feeling. And oh, by the way, while we're talking about dark clouds, my goodness, Sarah, really? Who's Sarah, Joe?
You threw that one at me.
Right? You know who Sarah is? It's the latest hurricane that's already formed in the Caribbean.
Yes. I didn't know it. I didn't know this.
Check your calendar. It's November 13th, and we're talking about hurricanes.
Yeah.
But we don't got no climate change. We don't got none of that.
Yeah.
So when this new administration comes in and they do away with NOAA, the National Oceanographic and Atmospheric Association, the people that get paid to track these hurricanes to make sure that you stay safe, what are you going to do, pal? How are you going to stick your nose out and look at your weather vane and watch that rooster spinning around?
By the way, before you give out that number, let me
ring a bell for that one.
Let
me
say,
pretty good little rant right there.
Yeah, you were good.
Thank you.
Let's just say that before you leave that spot that you created in the middle of that, is please support WMNF. Give when you can, and remember that this is a kind of a lone voice as an independent station, as a nonprofit. We're kind of a lone voice in the wilderness, and that wilderness is likely to get a little bit more dark
and vast
in the near future. So please support us in every way you can.
That's right, WMNF.org, and if you want to, tailor that particular donation to the conversation, just seek us out. And we're always welcoming to your contributions. And thank you for listening, always. Thank you for listening. So the numbers that you can call if you'd like to get involved in the conversation today, which is a great name for a podcast, by the way, is 813-239-9663. You can send us a text at 813-433-0885. And Jessica G is standing by to take your emails. And if they're good and they have a take and they don't suck, we will read them on the air. That's DJ at WMNF.org. DJ at WMNF.org. So, Joe.
And by the way, on the subject of Jessica G.
Right there. I'm looking at her.
Jessica G., who also is the board op for Shelley Rebeck.
Correct.
And her show.
Doing
Jessica,
yeoman's work.
Say hi, Jessica.
Hello.
Hello. How are you today?
I'm doing fine, thank you.
I thought you would have said, hi, Jessica. That's a perfect, when they throw you that line, say hi, Jessica. That's what you're supposed to say, hi, Jessica.
Yeah, well, I just wanted...
And we're so grateful that she's here. She does yeoman's work on Wednesday, right?
Yeah, well, she's a really important part of this show. It's not the Joe and Mario show. It's the conversation. It's community, and Jessica makes it happen. So
and she's part of that community.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
And the conversations that we have when we go to lunch afterwards, if we could only record those and package those, they're a lot of times even better than what Joe and I produce here on the air. So, the folks are calling in already, and we're grateful for that. All we ask is that, you keep your comments succinct. Let us know what's on your mind. We will certainly parlay with you. And thank you all for calling. Joey, shall we take a couple
Let's
of calls?
take some calls.
Yeah,
Let's go.
Let's go. This is a community radio network, and we are the conversation. William in Tampa, you're on the air. Tell us what's on your mind.
Good morning, boys.
Good morning. Good morning. Boys, I like that.
Yes,
I like that because it lends itself to youth. You know, most guys will go, hey, boy.
It lends itself to 10-year-olds.
Nice.
Dramatically beaten up by this ridiculous conversation that you're putting on the air. Trauma. What are you guys, 6 years old? Are you serious? Grow up. This is garbage. It's over. Move on. Shouldn't be a topic anymore, and you shouldn't be traumatized whatsoever.
All right, William. Well,
People are traumatized when they have death in their family, or they have car accidents, or they lose their job in financial hardship. You're traumatized because the guy didn't win the election?
no. You're missing the point.
on.
William, okay. Thank you for your comments, William. That was great. That's a great right out of the box commentary. But you missed the point, William. I'm so sorry that we had to take you off the air. You missed the point, pal. The trauma that we're feeling is similar to those experiences that you just mentioned. But look, hey, boys, that's good. That's good. Feel again, pal. Feel again. All right, let's keep going. Maybe we'll get a second caller who's even better than William. Terry in Clearwater. Terry, you're on the air.
Thank you for taking my call.
Well, I'll stay with you as long as you're not William.
That's the ticket. I'll tell you what. The thing I think people don't seem to understand is a lot of these groups that they want to pull us out of. For example, WHO, Worldwide Health Organization, and the climate business that's all over the world. We set our own terms for this. People don't tell us what to do, for one. And for two, most of our vaccines are developed through information that is collected worldwide by WHO. However, to me, the most disturbing thing about this entire election was he won not only by electoral, but by a majority vote.
What does that tell you?
To me, that was the most disturbing of all. It shows that Lincoln was right. You can fool most of the people most of the time. And you can't fool all of the people all of the time, but he did say you can fool most of the people most of the time.
And we're sitting, I think now, Terry, it's safe to say we're sitting in a new world with information technologies that they can actually target you personally. If they wanted to, they could target you. And people aren't smart enough. People aren't smart enough to decipher. Mm-hmm.
And they can't. They bake it to where you can't decide for yourself because the information that you've been given has not been correct. They set laws that scare the hell out of you. You know, in Florida, if more than 3 people gather on a corner, they can be charged with a felony. Well, if I'm in college, for crying out loud, there's 10 of us that think this law is wrong, what am I going to do? Risk my law degree that I've worked half my life for? Or am I just going to stay home and shut up?
Terry, thank you so much for your call. We feel like you feel today. So I appreciate your call so much. Hey, speak to Terry's angst.
Well, I completely understand it. And Terry, all I can say is we have to all sort of stay together and work and speak up wherever we can. That's all you can do.
Absolutely. And listen, did we hit a nerve today, Joey? I don't know, but maybe we did. Hey, Dale in Newport Richie, talk to us. What's on your mind?
Hi, thanks for taking my call.
You're not William, are you?
No, I am not
Good.
at all.
Good. I don't know what happened to William today. He must have woke up on the wrong side of the bed.
Well, you know, I am a woman, and I experienced this election much different than he does because I am grieving about women's reproductive freedom.
Absolutely, Dale. And that's what I was trying to impress upon the first caller that shall remain nameless forevermore.
Big, William, it's really big for women.
Right.
It's really big for It means life and death in many cases. So, I mean, and here's what else I wanted to say is that I've got that cold, too.
Oh, really?
There you go. Yeah. There you go. See?
Were you hanging around me somewhere I didn't know about?
No, I don't think so.
But it was the immune system suppression.
That's right. I also take zinc.
There you go.
I also have been cold-free for at least 10 years.
Look at that,
and
Joe.
This trauma has taken me into this sneezing, sniffly, head cold
Interesting.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I've got it too, and I wonder if anybody else does, because I know somebody else in my town, Newport Richey, who also has it. And I bet you that is the reason why.
Well, Dale, the thing about this is that that's kind of interesting is I understand that cold bugs go around and we all get colds and blah blah blah. But I rarely get a cold. I just don't get them because I really I'm pretty tight about my I'm always in the process of weight loss and trying to lose some weight. But I mean, beyond that, I eat like a gladiatorial nutritionist, and I'm pretty. I work on my health constantly, and I supplement and I do all these things, and I just don't get colds. I mean, I've got some arthritis in my legs, but I don't have colds, and it just sort of surprised me. And now you're saying that, and it would be an interesting way if you could somehow collect the data points of how many people out there got sick from the election last week. I think that would be interesting.
I would bet that somatic complaints are up. If you have aches, it's achy. If you have neuralgia, you've got more neuralgia. If you've got headaches and migraines, I bet that's up too. Interesting, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Thank you so much for your call, Dale. And
Thank you, Dale.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for being the voice of reason out there. We certainly appreciate that. So, again, Joey, we've been doing the show for a little while now. Never have we been called out for being boys.
Right.
Being fine gentlemen, yes, but never boys. But here's the thing. When we have guests on the show...
That's okay. I'm secure enough to take it personally. Yeah.
When we have guests on the show, as often we do, and they're telling us their personal stories and they're wonderful for, and multifaceted, we seldom get calls. Mm-hmm. Seldom, even though we solicit for them, we seldom get calls. Mm-hmm. But the minute you open up the phone lines for people to opine, whether they agree with you or not, they will call, and the ones that's always like it's always like the incoming administration. They bitch and moan, and so it's the people that are going to give you the nasty negative that can't wait to get on the phone.
Well, I have expected that we would open up the phones more, and particularly today, and we would get a variety of diverse points of view. And I'm perfectly fine with people who want to call in and say that they think the right decision was made. That's fine with me. Don't be uncivil with me about it, please.
Yeah, and don't call us out for, personally. But anyway, here we go. Let's keep going because these callers have been graciously standing by, and we want to hear from each and every one of them. So let's hear from Mark in Tampa. Hi, Mark.
What's up, guys?
What's going on?
Well, I just got off work, and I turned on my truck radio, and I heard somebody say there was 13 million less people that voted in this election.
Something like that. I think the number was even 17 million.
And you know what? That explains everything.
Okay.
Now I see what's going on.
Do tell. Do tell.
Well, can I use the term fake news?
The fake news? The fake news was behind it?
No. Well, if that many people did not vote,
mm-hmm.
That's unfathomable.
That's what I said. That's what doesn't smell right. Doesn't pass the smell test. And if they didn't vote, why didn't they vote? Were they persuaded not to vote? Did bomb scares scare them away? I don't know. Did bomb threats scare them?
You remember the hanging chats?
Come on, man. We were all here.
Yes.
Hanging chits and all that.
Hanging Chad.
That's right.
89,000 people were taken off the polls because they didn't vote in the last election, and every kind of excuse you can ever think of. And we were assured over and over, this is up and up. This is just fine. Well, how about all those people that mailed in their ballots and didn't get any confirmation?
There's 1,000 different ways you can parse this thing. All I know is that we, I think, collectively as a nation made a bad choice, and it's a small number of people that help them get over the top in this one. And I think that we really haven't begun to say, listen, all of this is speculation. Everything that we're saying right now is just speculation. But when the words come down, so help me God, on January 20th, that's when you might look for all hell breaking loose, because then the race car's on the track, it's up to speed, and they're going to hit the ground running. So good, bad, and different, whatever side of this you're on, you're going to get a man-sized dose of whatever's coming at you come January 20th.
The other thing is, he's obviously, I know his record ever since he destroyed the USFL the first time around, when we only had the only winning
Tampa Bay Bandits.
Yes. And he bankrupted that whole league trying to get into the NFL. They won't let him near the NFL. So I pull from there. I understand this guy better than most people. Oh, well, he's a TV star. No, he's a finagler. He's a con artist. He's everything but a TV star.
Mark, you hit the nail on the head, my brother, and we appreciate you waiting patiently to talk to us. We're going to do a station ID, come back on the other side. Please keep listening.
Thanks, Mark.
And we appreciate you calling in, Mark. Thank you so much.
Yes.
That's Mark calling in.
A finagler.
We love that.
Mark was being so polite.
Mark the finagler. Let's go ahead and go.
Hi, I'm Mike Norton, and you're listening to The Conversation with Mario Nunez and Joe King Carter on WMNF 88.5 Tampa.
And he was right. Mark was right. He had his finger on the pulse. He knew of which he was. And listen, the guy's been an abject failure in everything he's ever done. He doesn't conduct. He went to the Wharton School of Business and learned nothing because he's incapable of it. But anyway, he's in charge now, and watch out because it's about to hit the fan. So let's see. Let's go to another caller and see what Mac in Clearwater has to say. Mac. You're with us. Can you hear us?
There, guys. Yeah, I can hear you well. How you doing?
Good. Thank you.
I totally, I feel for you because you're sick and everything. I got sick also. I want to tell you. I got sick to my stomach. But the funny thing is, I'm a Trump voter. It doesn't make sense because it's all garbage what you're spewing, It's just hypothetical stuff. And November 20th, who cares? Whatever. We're here. We're winners. Take it like a man, or the boy, like the guy called you.
There you go. So you're in Williams' camp. All right. Well, that's good. That's good. That's what we like to know. And we wrote it down. We've got you down as a take it like a man guy. So we'll see. We'll see, brother. We'll see. We hope that none of the draconian laws that are about to be put in place vis-a-vis women's health rights, we hope that doesn't affect you or somebody you love, because that would be tragic. And this is what you guys do. See, you gloat. And you want to pound your chest, and because, and of course we can tell by the accent, you're not Floridian, you're not from here. So there's that comes into play as well. That's fine. That's why Florida has changed. Florida wasn't always this way. Florida has been, talking about an invasion. Florida has been invaded now for many, many years from people from the Great White North that don't want to be up there. They don't want to pay taxes. They don't want to be in the snow for whatever reason. They come here and then, they I don't know. It's frustrating. But yeah, we'll take it like a man. Thanks, Mac. Thanks. We'll keep going and see if we can get. This is John from Newport Richey. John, do you know Dale?
No, I don't know either of those people. But I just that's just great. Take it. You guys lost. Get over it. Let's move on. Where was that sentiment in 2020?
There you go. But, they don't look in the mirror, brother. They don't look in the mirror.
I'm just saying, talk about trauma. We had 4 years of trauma in 2020 when they kept saying it was stolen. It was stolen. What's the evidence? Oh, they got stuff on Fox News showing them recount the ballots, which went to, what was that? Rudy Giuliani said that they were committing voter fraud. Court said he lied. Oh. But that's still true. Even though the court said it lied, I still believe Fox. I don't believe the court. So,
no, we don't believe the scientists either. I mean, Johnny, we don't believe anybody. It's who you're going to believe, me or your lying eyes, the guy who's a pathological liar. He's worse than the John Lovitz character on Saturday Night Live.
I know. So for those callers that were saying that move on, get over your trauma. Come on. Let's grow up and be a man about it. Let's man up and say 2020 was Trump lost. If you really want to man up and not be a boy, and I'm going to use that in a derogatory way, man up and say Trump lost in 2020. and get over your trauma.
By the way, John. Let me just add to that. Be a man and get over it. Well, you know what happened, John, was that Donald Trump said that he did win the election. He didn't lose the election; he won it.
He said he didn't win the election. He thought he lost at one point towards the end there. But yeah,
that was recently. But the night of, from the White House, he stated, you know what? They're still counting the votes. They think we've lost. You know what? In fact, we did win the election. Those were his words. That's the video, and it's,
I guess he had. I guess he had trouble manning up. I love that.
Here you go. Talk about the White House. People said that Trump called out the National Guard in January 6th. I want to say to all those Trump supporters, did you see any National Guards out there supporting the Capitol Police? Because I sure didn't. So where were all those guards that Trump called out? He called them out beforehand to protect his people when he thought that they were going to be in trouble. So when they lost and they started attacking his people started attacking the Capitol, he didn't call out the National Guard. So get over that trauma too. Grow up and let's face the facts there.
Thank you, John. Thanks John from Newport Richey. We appreciate it. Yeah, he called the National Guard to tell him to stand down. He called the National Guard, told him, hey, man, stand down. We don't need you coming in here. Let's go to Sharon in Bradenton. This is Bradenton. Joe, you know Bradenton pretty well.
Oh, so well. Like
Sharon,
the back of my hand.
Sharon, are you with us?
Yes, sure is.
Hi, Sharon.
Hi, Sharon.
Hi there. Teresa was mentioning about the women, and I think a lot of the people don't realize that women are dying, and that's the scary part about it, is that there's always been, and I'm on our end, the scary part about it is that pregnancies can become very complicated. And when you end up with the difficulties, they can't always be rectified. It's a very much of a time zone and waiting for days and people bleeding out. It not only has consequences for them at that moment, but for their future. It starts to create heart problems and all kinds of issues like that, which I'm sure the general public doesn't realize. But as Teresa was mentioning about these colds, we've also got a pretty significant red tide here in Florida. And you walk around with a runny nose, watery eyes.
Respiratory distress, yeah.
Yeah. And the other thing on the election is that a lot of people have said when they split the ballot on the abortion, that it wasn't linked directly to Trump. It was the separate state thing, that might be how he got a lot of votes, because I know people have said they voted for Trump, but they voted against abortion. And
Thank you so much, Sharon, for your call. We've got that. I can't believe today we've definitely hit the proverbial nerve, but we want to thank you so much. Please call us anytime.
Thank you, Sharon.
And we're grateful that you're listening. That's the most important thing. I think we shouldn't bury the lead here. Even the people that have called in today and have been less than kind, which is par for the course for that side, we just want to say thank you for listening. Thank you for listening to WMNF. So, Joe, I mean, we are through the looking glass, my brother. Mm-hmm. And even the people that are calling to be nasty to us, I guess they don't care about their wives if they have them, their mothers if they came from one, their sisters or female offspring.
I was just going to ask you. I don't know
how does that work?
I don't know. Lined up in the queue, you can see the screen. I don't know how many female callers we have coming in. We just had Sharon, but
we've got a couple. We've got a couple more.
But one of the things that stands out in my mind is where were the men in this election who support women in their lives, and all the women you mentioned, your mothers, your wives, your daughters, your best friends,
nieces.
And the other thing is
granddaughters.
What we have to talk about is that we ask women why they don't come forward when sexually assaulted. And could it be because in the future we live in a world where an abuser has become president? Now, that's a very weird place to be in if you have a daughter at this point in time, a young daughter, where you're going to tell her about what should and should not happen in the world and how she should be strong and how she should take care of herself. And the person who is our leader is a known abuser. That's a rough situation.
Well, when you're a celebrity, they let you do it. Let's go to, we got to go quick now because we've got a lot of callers. Simon in Lakeland. This is our friend Simon. Simon, what say you?
How you doing? I'll try to keep it in the sandbox here.
Please.
But you know, when someone's throwing fastballs at your head all the time and the umpire's not throwing the pitcher out, the trial in New York was very Kafkaesque. You know, there's a painting in the Metropolitan Museum by Goya that says, "The sleep of reason creates monsters." So it's a point of reference. You can't tell me that 70% of the country voted because they were stating that the country is moving in the wrong direction. And then, with all due respect, I think that the community would be far better off if there was a small smidget of centrist programming on WMNF for a different view to enlighten the populace as a whole, because we're all in our own silo, and you seem to be saying that people are getting Fox News. You're very stereotypical of certain groups, and we need to, instead of talking past each other, we need to speak to each other. He's not a madman. He's not Hitler. He's not Hitler.
No.
I don't know how you can say draconian laws are going to come about.
Simon, we listen. I'm gonna have to stop you because I got 5 more calls I got to get to, and don't worry, I'll take you off the air and you can hear my comment. And you can call back next week. And as far as letting the powers that be here at WMNF know, listen, they listen to these shows. They have to, because if we get called into the carpet because we've done something that's out of bounds, we get called in on that. But and they're listening now as we're speaking. So your point was already expressed. But you're saying he's not a Hitler and so on and so forth. Let's wait, pal. Let's wait.
But no one here has used the word Hitler today.
That's
by the way.
You did that.
Yeah,
but
we
let's,
didn't bring.
Let's wait. Let's withhold. I'm riffing. I'm offering you my opinion, just like you're offering me yours. But I tend to believe my eyes and ears what I see, and I don't need to watch Fox News to know, because you got to get the unscrubbed stuff too. You got to get the stuff that's kind of raw and uncut to see him when he's doing his shenanigans.
By the way, Mario, I think that the public affairs shows on WMNF
are among the best.
I would say yes, but beyond that, I would say that most would be when you're talking about zoning and wetlands, and you're talking about all of the issues that face communities. Most of the programming at WMNF is centrist. We're not putting a position of the Democrat Party or the Republican Party on air all the time here at all. I think the overwhelming amount of programming is centrist.
And then there's the music, and the music is apolitical. So there's that. So let me just let's keep going, man, because we've got folks lined up to talk to us today, and most everybody's been kind. Most everybody's talked to us and made their points, and even Simon. So let's go ahead and talk to Jimmy in Bradentown. Jimmy.
Gentlemen.
I like that. Well, let's ring a bell for gentlemen.
Okay. Now, I don't know if you're going to agree what I have to say, but I've been around a long time. And my mom campaigned for JFK, and I'll never forget one of the first memories is he came out and shook my hand when I gave some little tap dance or something on stage before his rally, and I was thrilled. I've been a Democrat my whole life, but they left me. I had to vote Trump.
No, Jimmy, no.
Yep.
That's wow. This is we're breaking new ground.
Well, this is an interesting viewpoint.
Right.
Explain, Jimmy, why you did that
in 2 minutes or less.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I was really embarrassed. I'd never liked Trump, but I was embarrassed to have to defend him to people when I saw lies about him, things that I had seen, and I knew that some of the things in the media were lies, and I had to defend him because it wasn't fair. And I saw more and more of this. I saw disinformation coming from the Democrats. I saw shenanigans by the Democratic Party. People that I loved, like Bernie and Tulsi, were just...
Well, I think Tulsi's gone to the other side, but that's okay. She's going to get a cabinet position here soon. So, well, it's unique and interesting that you bring that up, because I don't know anybody, and truthfully, I don't know anybody that's that was a JFK Democrat that has gone full circle and now gone to the other side, the dark side. But look, let's withhold judgment. Let's withhold. Go ahead.
It's this nastiness that I never expected from the Democrats. I never expected liberals.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about nastiness? Wait a minute. Hold on, Jimmy. What are you talking about nastiness? We're the party that we don't bring a knife to a gunfight, brother. We bring a casserole. We don't know how to fight. We don't know how to fight. The fighters are on the other side, but they're also bullies. And they lack an empathetic genius. This is our opinion now. We're riffing. We're riffing with you.
Well, I have one question.
That's why they say, the Republicans, Democrats fall in love, Republicans fall in line. This is how this works. And we are the party of inclusion, Big Tent. So it's hard to corral those cats. Republicans, not so much. They tell, okay, we're all going to look left today and march left, and they all march left. This is how this goes. And this is the problem that we have. And our messaging was awful this time around. And, we had a great candidate. She had a short runway to get that thing off the ground. We thought she did a magnificent job. But the people... I don't know. Listen, he's going to get sworn in on January 20th, and we're going to find out what hell's going to break loose. And we will be the first ones, Jimmy, to say on the air.
But I have a quick question.
I'm going to get you, Jimmy, I'm going to take you off the air so we can get that question to you. But we will be the first ones to admit, we were wrong. But I will tell you this. If this goes as bad as I suspect that it might, we're going to hammer this thing each and every week. And you guys can call us and tell us whatever you want to tell us, but... Go ahead, Johnny. Go ahead, Joey.
Well, I was going to ask Jimmy a question, but the point is...
Well, ask him, tell him and...
Well, yeah, no, I can't because he can't answer.
Yeah, that's right.
So, I wonder in somebody in his position how he sees what is now going to happen as the result of his vote.
That's maybe he can call us next week and tell us. So let me read a couple of emails because I got to honor the emails as well. One here says the Republicans have been stealing elections since 2000. That's all they can do. I think... better of my fellow Americans than this. I hope I'm right. And, better angels, again, we all want, that's from Valerie. Thank you, Valerie. We always want to say that we're appealing to the better angels of the world. But, when did we become such a mean-spirited lot? When did we as Americans become such a mean-spirited, I don't care, I got mine, you get yours, I don't care, the immigrants and all this good. When did all that happen? I don't know. I wasn't raised like that. Surely I wasn't. All right, let me read another one. From Jack, it says here... very small font, bear with me. When this train wreck of the next administration becomes obvious, the MAGAs that enabled a very gifted grifter and forced Trump on us will eventually face the ire of the Americans who didn't drink the Kool-Aid. Hopefully, it's nonviolent. My words, not his. I don't guarantee that. And then he goes on to say, Jack goes on to say, I'd rather believe Americans were deluded by a gifted grifter than think they really want to take our experimental republic this deep into authoritarianism. Right. I've got my mouthpiece in it. It's difficult to talk with it. If the latter of the case is well, then we didn't get it right, did we? America will be great again when character really does matter once again, and the caricature that we have to look forward to ain't it. And this caricature. And you're right, Jack, and I butchered your email, forgive me, but Jack in Ellington, you're right. You're absolutely right.
Good points, Jack. Really good points.
I think really and truthfully, most people share that sensibility. Jack is, he's speaking almost with a sense of neutrality there. There wasn't a lot of vitriol in that email. I read it terribly, but he was just stating a simple fact. He ain't it, and this ain't us. Or is it? Joe, I said this last week. I think we're flawed as people. I think we're flawed. I think we're bad. I think these are our worst inclinations, and we just lean in on it because it's easier to be bad. It's hard to be kind. It's hard to be nice. It's hard to give a damn about somebody else when you don't really want to, and especially now.
Yeah, I think that I kind of agree with Jack. Is it Jack?
Yes, Jack.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Jack in many ways. And as I said earlier at the beginning, at the top, there is a confluence of 100 or 1,000 influences here. So one of those influences for me is I don't believe people are bad, but I believe that they are certainly capable
of bad things,
of some badness. Yeah.
Okay, let's go back to the phones because these callers have been waiting for so long, and I just want to say, Deb, you're on the air. You've been waiting so long. Thank you for being there. Are you still there?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, gosh. Deb and Lutz. Okay, Deb, go ahead.
I love your show.
Thank you. We needed that today.
And I'm sorry I didn't hear the other commenters up until a few minutes ago, but I wanted to talk about the nominee for Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth.
Nobody knows him, right? The guy that nobody knows about.
Well, you need to get to know him. He was a Fox News commentator. He's a veteran. I am a veteran. I was in the Air Force for 25 years, got a retirement, went in right the minute I graduated high school, got a commission as an officer, and I got to tell you, I had to kick a lot of doors down just to stay alive in the ranks, not just with the enemy. And I'm really concerned about this guy because I did look him up after they made the announcement. And so this morning on one of the news shows, not partisan media news shows, by the way, they had a clip of him saying that, well, we got to keep women out of combat. And he went on a rant about women in the military.
Here we go.
So that got me. That got my attention. Mm-hmm. I looked him up, and here's a quote from this book he wrote called War on the Warriors, and it's about how the woke military is this terrible thing. But anyway, here's the quote. There just aren't enough lesbians from San Francisco who want to join the 82nd Airborne. Not only do the lesbians not join, but those very same ads turn off the young, patriotic Christian men who have traditionally filled our ranks.
Wow.
Let that sink in.
Wow.
What is happening here? This is listen. I don't know if everybody out there's watched even one episode of A Handmaid's
I'm laughing
Tale.
because it's a tragic situation.
It is absolutely.
The guy insults lesbians, women, the beautiful city of San Francisco. And by the way, on your show, I learned a word I'd never heard: roid mail. Did I get that?
Yes.
It's a term. Yeah, it's having to do with steroids, and the fact that when you take steroids, all roided out.
Everything. So
aggressive.
What we have for a sex theft is a roid male, Christo-fascist, homophobe, misogynist.
There you go. Listen, that was a mouthful there, Deb. We're going to let you go. Thank you so much.
Hey, Deb, listen, before you go, thank you for your service.
There you go. Thanks, Joey. I was going to get to it next. Thank you, sweetie. Call us anytime. We appreciate you so much. And let's go to Nikki in Largo. Nikki, you've been waiting so patiently. Thank you, Nikki.
Hello, and good morning. Or good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thank you for putting this show on and bringing up these topics. I have one question for everybody who's listening, everybody who calls in, everybody who volunteers. Does anybody know of any law that regulates men's bodies?
I believe that was a question that was asked by Vice President Harris, and I'm trying to remember who she asked. Was it during a Senate? She asked Supreme Court Justice. Oh my gosh, his name escapes me.
Sotomayor?
No. The Supreme Court justice that was accused of sexual assault.
Oh, yeah, okay.
No, not Clarence Thomas, the young guy, the guy that we just.
Kavanaugh.
Brett Kavanaugh. There you go.
Yeah,
She asked Brett Kavanaugh, and he didn't. I'll have to get back to you. I think that's what he said.
Well, the answer to your question is. The answer to your question is
resounding.
Nikki, there is no law that regulates men's bodies, period.
And I have one more question I just thought of. What happened to Amendment 14 in the Constitution? No one who is involved in an insurrection can become president of the United States.
They've looked away from so many rules that have tripped this guy up, from the Mar-a-Lago documents, scan, everything. I mean, just grab him by the pee should have been it, right? Just grab him by the pee, they let you do it. And that should have been it. And then, of course, he followed that up with, I'm going to protect women whether they want it or not. I mean, come on, man. It doesn't take, you don't have to have a 6-year degree in psychology to know this guy ain't right. He ain't right, and he's now the leader of the most powerful military.
But he makes a good point. That the 14th Amendment does define this completely, and it's there.
And again, the lawlessness, I think, again, if we are wrong, we will be the first ones to admit that. We will own that. And I will walk up and down Martin Luther King Boulevard with a sandwich board saying, I was wrong. But if I'm right, you might just hear from me each and every week. Nikki, thank you so much. How are things in Largo? Good?
So far.
Okay. Hang in there, buddy. We appreciate you calling so much. Thank you. We'll take one more call, and then I got to read some more emails. Marion, thank you for calling in. What say you?
Hi. Thank you for taking my call.
Of course.
I'm really enjoying your show today.
Thank you, honey.
I have 2 comments. Firstly, thank you to that veteran who called recently. Thank her for her service.
Deb, thank you for your service, Deb.
Secondly, I only take consolation in the fact, I hope it's the fact, that Donald fires everybody eventually, usually within the first 2 months. So these appointments that he's making, I'm really concerned about, but I hope he gets mad and throws ketchup and fires them all. And I don't know. I don't know what else to say.
The only thing that might save us here, Marion, the only thing that might save us is that he is such a pathological, clinical liar that's proven. I mean, we just know that everything that comes out of his mouth is a lie. That some of the things that he's saying that are really, really egregious and really horrible, they might just end up being lies too. He's got a Congress he's going to have to deal with. He's not a dictator. He's not a czar. He's not a ruler, like in the imperial ruler in that sense. So there are still and the guardrails have been damaged, but there are still checks that are there to hold him back from doing his worst deeds. There will be demonstrations. The first thing I'm going to be looking for is he going to sic the military or the National Guard on these people? Is it going to be at the border? Is there going to be blood literally in the Rio Grande? Are they going to start shooting immigrants as they're wading across the water? This is what I'm looking for. And I know the other side is thinking, what are you talking about? Just wait. Just wait. If it doesn't happen, I'll be the first one to go, wow, man, the guy has a kinder, gentler side. I didn't know that. But if it does happen, I'm going to be right here the next week telling you about it. We can't show you the pictures because it's radio, but I can maybe paint a picture verbally that won't be so nice.
Well, I'll be listening because we got to stay vigilant.
Absolutely, Marion. You know what? The other thing is, you were talking about him firing people. Apparently, what he requires, his number one qualification for everybody who serves him is loyalty, undying loyalty. Loyalty. And so these people have to lay down and completely submit to him. But the irony of that is eventually he tires of that. And now, so he's
as all clinical narcissists
he's kind of
do.
caught in his own
he hates himself.
Catch-22.
And I'm not so sure that some of these people that love him and don't hate themselves too, don't have a little dark corner of their personality that they hate themselves. Because you have to hate yourself to be so hateful. Because you know that the guy that you're looking in the mirror every day and looking at is miserable and a no account. And it's, look, it is what it is. Just face facts. It is what it is. Marion, thank you again for calling. We're here every Wednesday. We hope to hear from you again.
Great.
Thank you, sweetie. So we're coming up to another close of another great show. I got a couple of more emails. If I can get through a couple more emails, I want to read these because these nice people took the time to send them in. You're right on. This is from Martin. You're right on the money. Real Florida people are very cool. The people coming down here ruined it. Also, in the end of January, they'll know they have been conned yet again. I guess these people don't have mothers or daughters. And you know what, Martin, I can't embellish that anymore. You have absolutely hit the nail on the head where I'm concerned. Okay, let me read this one now. It says, this is from Brian L. It says, to Mario and Joe King, boy, as used by Caller William. That usage is from a time of Jim Crow segregation, which is again in MAGA, which is MAGAs. This is what he's saying. The Caller William provides us with a flavor of reminding us that racism is not gone, and racism and white supremacy morality mostly relatively is at home in the U.S. and the U.S. Republican Party. That's 100%. We know this. And it's only going to get worse. I think that, Joe, talk me back off the ledge, brother. What gives me any hope that we're going to be okay?
Well, here's what it is. Those individuals that are now going to be the dominant force, there is nobody to stop them except us. There is nobody to stop them from doing the worst that they can do, taking us toward this kind of authoritarian society that they want. So you know what? we've got to remain vigilant, folks. We've got to remain active, and we've got to stay involved. And I'd say that to anybody, regardless of their political position, stay involved.
Stay in the fight. Listen,
right.
Thank you to all of our callers today. Thank you so much for lending your time and your ear and allowing us to vent a little bit and offer hopefully a perspective. Joey, who's coming up next?
Jim Bannon is coming up.
He's saying no, he's not, but he is, because we can see him in the studio right now.
I see him over there, the master of musical mirth. He's there.
Thank you all for listening. Once again, we always appreciate your time. This has been The Conversation on WMNF Tampa. See you next week.